Hi, I'm attorney Daniel Buckfire. In order to receive wage loss benefits from your insurance company, a wage verification form must be completed by your employer. Today I'm going to show you how a form should be completed and what it should look like before it is submitted to your insurance company.
This form is the Wage, Salary, and Benefits Verification Form. It is the form that must be completed by your employer and submitted to the insurance company so that you can obtain your wage loss benefits. On the form, your employer should indicate your job title and a description of your duties. The employer should also indicate the date that you began employment up and to the present date. On the form, the employer should also indicate whether you are full-time, part-time, or what the status of your employment is, and the number of days that you work in an average week. On Section 5 of the form, the employer should indicate the date you began your disability from employment through the date the form is being completed, or if you have returned to work, the date that you returned to work. In Section 6, the employer should indicate what your total income was for the previous calendar year. In Section 7, the employer should indicate your wages or your salary. This is how the no-fault insurance company determines how much to pay you for your time off work. You may be entitled to additional payments if you are working overtime at the time of the disability, and this should be marked in Section 8 of the form. If you were working overtime, your employer should indicate that in Section number 9. In Section number 10, your employer should indicate whether or not your injuries arose in the course of your employment. If you were injured while in the course of your employment and while driving a car or in a vehicle, or even as a pedestrian hit by a car, you may be entitled to both workers' compensation benefits and no-fault insurance benefits, and the two companies will have to determine who is responsible for paying which benefits. If you were injured while in the course of your employment, your employer should indicate the name of the workers' compensation insurance carrier in Section 11. In Section 12, your employer should indicate whether or not you were covered by a wage or salary continuance plan, which is essentially the same thing as a disability insurance policy. If you were covered under such a plan or such a policy, that information should be included in Section 12. Your no-fault insurance carrier may be entitled to a set-off or a reduction in the amount they have to pay if you are receiving benefits from another source. In Section 13, your employer should indicate whether or not you are covered by a medical benefits plan or whether or not you had medical insurance through your employer. Finally, the representative from the company should sign and date this form and either submit it to the insurance adjuster yourself or provide it to you so that you can submit it to the insurance company.
Today, I gave you instructions on how to complete forms that should be submitted to your insurance company in order to obtain no-fault benefits. Before submitting these forms, I recommend that you consult with an attorney to have the attorney review the forms to make sure that they were properly completed. Also, there are strict time limitations involved with submitting claims for benefits. Therefore, again, please consult with an attorney before submitting the claims, and also consult with an attorney to make sure that the claims are being properly submitted. In addition, if you can request a free copy of my book, which goes over the different time limitations and different types of claims that can be submitted to your insurance company.